We know him as a former pro hockey player and a published author, but Terry Ryan was also a great friend of the guys in that boat, and he's joining me now, being good enough to join me now. First of all, Terry, very difficult day for you, I guess.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Tell me, what was your connection with these guys?
Well, I've known them for years. For the last 3 years, we play ball hockey together, and that would sound, light on the surface, but Shea Heights are a tight community, and ever since I've been befriended Harold Druken back in the day, I guess I felt like a little bit a part of the community. They got a ball hockey team. We play for the men's provincials championships every year, and a few years ago they needed some help, and they just asked guys like me and Sean Wadden and Mike Dyke, who've had success on a world level, to maybe come in and help them a little bit and give them some direction. And for example, this year we lost in the final. We won in overtime in the semis. We had a lot of good times together. I know that's just hockey, but you experience that as a team, and a lot of the things that go with team are the same kind of things. It's kind of a metaphor for a family in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So the last 3 years I particularly got to know them really well, and we started as soon as I signed with them a few years ago. The boys mentioned, Keith would make a joke. He said, "I'm not Réjean Houle. I can't give you a signing bonus, but I'll take you out cod fishing whenever you want." My grandfather's from the south side here and had fishing in his family. Passed away when I was 13, and really that cut the link. I love fishing, but I'm not experienced, and he knew that was my only link. So Keith would take me out all the time, and Billy Humby, and every single time, which is dozens I've been out, they've been with me.
Keith had you out recently, I understand.
Yeah, the last time we were out was a couple of weeks ago in August. We were out again in July, and just little things. I was in Toronto. I had a few reasons to be in Toronto for the last few months. And in early July, I really, the whole time, but in early July, Keith phoned. And, he said, "Congrats." And I said, "Well, on the surface, it's going really well, Keith. But I really miss my friends, and I really miss my family. It's tough not to see my family." And he said, "Well, young feller, go home and look at your email." And I went, sure enough, he had me a ticket booked to come back to play the provincials with them. But that was with a wink and a nod. He wasn't flying me in just to play some provincial ball hockey. It was so I could see my friends and my family. He extended the vacation for 5 days, and we would have great chats. It was Keith's Garage was one of those places. Shea Heights is the tightest community I've ever been a part of, or I guess I feel part of it. I've never lived there, but I've ever seen, and I've traveled all over the world. I'm not exaggerating because this tragedy happened. Within Shea Heights, his place there, there's a lot of parallels with Mr. Harold Druken, who passed away a couple of years ago. Everybody, you just go there, and if you go there for half hour or an hour, for as much as I did, you'd end up meeting everybody in the community. And just, to say this is tragic is obvious, I guess, but for me personally, this is one of the biggest blows I've ever taken. And for the family, I just can't imagine.
Jerry, there is some slim hope that two of those guys might still be alive. Coast Guard's not calling it a recovery effort yet. What's going through your mind in light of that?
Well, that's one of the toughest things. This happened with Sean Neary, our buddy. Keith, we just talked about this a couple weeks ago. Sean Neary from Corner Brook. Not the same kind of tragedy, but he passed away suddenly. And we talked about just a couple days ago, we were in Keith's garage, and we were talking about Sean and how, you got to appreciate life. You never know what can happen. Mm-hmm. And we talked about, because Sean had passed out on the ball hockey floor, and 3 days went by before anybody realized that he was passed on. And this is the same sort of thing. I can't. You can talk about anxiety and you can talk about tragedy, but if there's ever a bad feeling, we're right in the middle of it now, because in all likelihood what's happened, but you can't really face that because there have been instances where something positive has come out of this. So, I'd be lying if I said I didn't cling to all hope, hoping that something positive happened and that, they're alive. But you also have to start facing what might be the possible or the reality of it all. And in between those emotions, I don't know how I'm dealing with it. I can't imagine the family. And it's hard for me to be here now. But I wanted to say it's just hard. It's hard to talk about it, but I encourage all friends and family to do it, because if we don't talk about them with respect and dignity that they deserve, then it's all for naught. So they're just the strongest people I know, the most positive, and have always helped me. When I'm feeling down, as an example I just gave you.
Terry, I know how tough it's been for you to come down here today. Thank you so much for joining me.
It's no problem at all. I encourage anybody who knows this family and these people to do the same.